And now I want to tell you that there's also different forms and types of digital nomads, okay? I don't really know what classifications are out there, but I want to point out one that makes the most sense to me. And this is the classification by how long you stay as a digital nomad at each place, okay? And there are four forms, I would say. One is the short-term nomad, then there's the medium-term nomad, the long-term nomad, and the mixed term. And I want to tell you what like differentiates them. So the short-term nomad stays between 1 week and 1 month at each place, okay? That means it's very short time. Normally, he or she normally stays in hostels or hotels, and the move is within the borders of countries, okay? Like you have your visa time, let's say 3 months, and 1 week or up to 1 month, you really visit different places in this country. I mean, it can also be that you jump the border, okay? But I feel like the short-term nomads really want to like explore a certain place, a country, by moving within its border, but on short stays. Okay, why 1 week to 1 month and not 1 or 2 days? Because I feel like, as you can see later on the course, that like very short stays will not be practical anymore regarding your work. Okay, because as a nomad, we have to work, as we learned from the definition, and normally you have to invest some days per week for that, and you cannot fully use it for traveling because otherwise you would just be a tourist or a backpacker. And for me, that really doesn't make it feasible to stay less than 1 week, just in exceptions. Then there's also the midterm nomad, and the midterm nomad stays 1 month to 3 months in each place. So really uses like this full span of his visa, his or her visa, and once it's done, he's moving across the country to nearby to bordering countries, okay? And I mean, it can also be hostels or hotels, but it becomes likely to have like monthly apartments or Airbnbs for longer terms. Also, there's like the long-term nomad who stays up to 6 months in each place, okay? Depending on what the visa lets him or her. And it's really like a planned stay with rented rooms or apartments in advance. And the wonderful thing about being a digital nomad is that you don't have to settle yourself for one of those different types. No, you can actually decide which one you want to be at which point in time. So that might be, you can stay like 1 week at 2 different places, and then you decide, wow, actually, I love this place. So I will stay another 2 months there, and then I'll go back to my short-term habit. If you do long-term and really have like rooms rented, I mean, you're probably not that much flexible, but still you can have like short trips during your stay, which come close to the short-term nomad again, okay? So you can see in general, you will have like 2 tendencies, like 2 dimensions. One is like short-term to long-term and everything in between. And here for me, it's really important to line out what are really what are like the advantages and maybe disadvantages, challenges of each of that form, okay? Because you will try them out at some point and you will see which one is the best for you. And there I made like this contrasting visual, and on the one side we have the short-term nomad, on the one side the long-term nomad, okay? So it doesn't really make sense to say what specifically for a midterm nomad, because it's those 2 directions, tendencies, okay? And the short-term nomad obviously gets to see a lot in a short time, okay? He's really in this like traveling flow of like deciding every day, hey, I don't have anything booked fix, I can just go like ride with the wind and see where the journey takes you, which is for me like a very essential part of the whole traveling thing, and with this you make so many experiences, you meet like many people across the globe, like in short time. You really, within 1 year, for example, you can meet so many different nationalities and make so many different friends, although you only see them for a short time, but yeah, this is really how myself, being more a short-term nomad, I feel like I really fitted 3 years into 1 year, okay, like experience-wise. And from your personal perspective, your personal growth perspective, you also have to say that you enhance your ability of being adaptable. Okay, you always have to adapt to new circumstances, to new environments, and this is a pretty nice soft skill, I would say. On the other side, so does the long-term nomad have very, very unique advantages, and it is the time that he really has to immerse in a local culture to deeply connect with it, you know. The time that a short-term nomad not has, because he's only a few time at one place, and also on the personal level, the long-term nomad can really build up human relationships and intensifies them at one place, okay? That doesn't mean that the short-term nomad doesn't have that, okay? He can also connect with people and travel with them and build up this connection, this deep connection on the road. But of course, this is like a different thing than actually living with the people at one place for, let's say, 6 months. Also, a big advantage of the long-term nomad, which we were going to talk about a lot in chapter 8, is that he or she is living way more economically. Because staying longer means less travel frequency, means like less travel cost, but also a lot of other things like cooking for yourself, or having long-term leases is normally like cutting down the cost, okay? Whereas a short-term nomad is normally not really cooking, is like going out to eat, is like on planes a lot, on buses a lot, and this adds up to the cost, okay? So those are the two dimensions, and yeah, my appeal to you is to really like find out, okay, what you really like. Very important to say is also that traveling is consuming time and energy. So you might not want to, like, if you have like a stressy job or a phase of your job that's stressy, this might also not be favorable for you. And because the work will at some point be determining, especially at the start, where it might be more than later, because you have to set up processes, you really have to work for the trust of the clients, and this will determine your travel style, your travel speed, and also how much energy you have for traveling. So somebody who has a lot of work might rather stay a little bit longer at one place, you know, but still it has to meet your personal preference. I give you an example from my side. As I said, I'm really like the flexible traveler. I love to feel this rush. I love to be with a backpacker, like really catch up with their speed. But on the other side, when I have a big project coming up, or right now the course that I had to film, I really need like one place where I stay, can build up a little bit of a routine to actually enhance my productivity, you know, knowing that when I'm done with that, I can go back to the short-term digital nomad style, which is a great luxury in having the choice and the flexibility to choose, right? And what else? Well, it also depends how much you really want to get involved with which culture. You know, some people say, hey, this country seems to me like something I just want to visit, you know, have this vacation experience because it's also not so small, or the activities are not 100% appealing to me. Or there's this culture that you love so much that you say, wow, I want to get into that. I want to deeply connect. That was for me, for example, in Brazil. So I stayed a long time in Brazil, and it's just so nice that you personally can decide that, right? And well, you can always change your mind. This is something at the first time I want to line out here as the biggest luxury of being a digital nomad. You really can decide where you want to stay long, and if you don't want to stay longer anymore, you can leave, you know, in this frame of how long your visa is actually permitting you to do so. All right, so those are the types of being a digital nomad, and I do recommend you to really try out different forms, and you will see which one appeals the most to you. Also, this really depends on the place, okay? So this like interdependency of time at a place and place itself will eventually shape your preferred type of being a digital nomad.